Okay, so let's talk about that feeling. You wake up, right? And immediately, it's like this mountain of things. Emails flooding in, meetings already stacking
Oh,
up.
yeah. Errands, family stuff, plus, those big things you actually want to get to, your dreams, your goals.
Exactly. And you're busy like all day long, running around, working hard. But then evening comes.
And you look back and just feel kind of scattered, disappointed even. Because the really important stuff, the needle movers, they're still sitting there, untouched.
It's such a common frustration. And it's precisely what Gary Keller and Jay Papasan zeroed in on. They found something really counterintuitive.
Which is that massive success, those extraordinary results, they don't actually come from doing more. They come from doing fewer things, but with intense focus.
Fewer things, that's the key. And it all crystallizes around this one potentially life-changing question.
It really can be. The question is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary?
Wow, okay, so that single question is our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack that philosophy, drawing from the source material, to help you move from just, being busy
to being truly purposeful,
Yeah.
effective, getting the right things done.
All right, so before we can even find that one thing, we kind of need to clear the decks, mentally speaking.
Yeah.
The book talks about these 6, well, he calls them lies.
Yeah, 6 big lies about success and productivity that honestly most of us have bought into at some point. They sound right, but they pull us way off track.
They waste our energy. So what's the first one we need to tackle?
The first lie is this fundamental belief that everything matters equally.
The giant to-do list problem, where sending a quick email feels just as urgent as, finishing the big strategic plan.
Exactly. We treat every task like it's got the same weight. But the truth, the reality the book points out, is that success comes from the Pareto principle, basically, the 80-20 rule.
Meaning, focus on the vital few things.
Precisely. The vital few, not the trivial many. Trying to give everything equal attention just dilutes your focus. You end up achieving nothing truly significant.
Okay, that makes sense. And that leads right into the next one, doesn't it? Lie number 2, multitasking. Our culture loves multitasking.
Oh, it celebrates it. We think people juggling 10 things are superheroes of productivity.
So why is it a lie if it feels like we're getting more done?
Because it's an illusion. The brain isn't wired for it, not for complex tasks anyway. Every time you switch, there's a cognitive cost. You lose time, you burn mental energy, your focus gets shattered.
So you're actually less efficient.
Way less efficient, and the source is really clear. Extraordinary results demand undivided attention on one thing. Trying to do 2 important things at once. You're just doing both poorly.
Okay, ouch. That hits home. What's lie number 3?
This one's about discipline. The myth that success requires endless discipline. Like successful people are just willpower robots 24/7.
Right, this image of someone with just unbreakable self-control all day, every day, that sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting, and thankfully it's not true. Nobody has perfect discipline all the time. The key isn't constant superhuman control. It's about using discipline strategically.
How so?
You only need enough discipline long enough to build the right habit. Get the important thing established as routine. Once it's a habit, it takes way less effort, way less willpower to maintain.
So discipline is like the startup energy, and the habit is what keeps it going.
Exactly. Discipline gets the flywheel spinning, habit keeps it cruising.
That's a much more hopeful way to look at it. Which brings us to lie number 4, I guess, about willpower itself.
Yeah, the myth that willpower is always available, like it's just on tap whenever we need it.
But it's not, is it?
Definitely not. Think of it like a muscle, or the book uses the analogy of a phone battery. It gets depleted throughout the day. Every decision, every time you resist temptation, every time you manage your emotions, it drains the battery.
So that 4 p.m. slump isn't just being tired, it's willpower drain.
That's a big part of it. You literally have less capacity for good decision-making and focus later in the day, which is why the advice is crucial. Do your one thing, your most important task, when your willpower is highest. Usually that's earlier in the day.
Protect that prime time. Okay, now lie number 5. This one feels tricky. The idea of needing to live a perfectly balanced life. I mean, don't we all strive for balance?
We're told to, constantly. But the book argues pretty strongly that when you're aiming for something extraordinary, perfect balance is actually, well, impossible. and maybe not even desirable.
Whoa, okay, explain that. Because going all in on one thing sounds like a recipe for burnout or neglecting other important parts of life, like family or health.
That's the fear, right? But the concept isn't about permanent imbalance, it's about counterbalance. Think about it like walking a tightrope. You don't stay perfectly still in the middle.
No, you're constantly making small adjustments, leaning side to side.
Exactly. To achieve something big, you have to lean hard into your one thing for a period. You go intentionally out of balance. But then crucially, you need to swing back. You counterbalance by deliberately focusing on the other important areas: your health, your relationships, rest.
So it's a dynamic process.
Yeah.
Deep focus, then deliberate rebalancing, not just letting everything else fall apart.
Precisely. It's strategic imbalance, not chaos. You attend to things sequentially. Pour energy here, then shift and pour energy there.
Okay, I can see that. Counterbalance, not just balance. And the final lie, number 6.
This one stops people before they even start. The belief that big is bad, that aiming high is unrealistic or risky or even arrogant.
We tend to shrink our goals down to what feels safe.
But thinking small guarantees small results. The book insists that big thinking is actually essential. It fuels your drive, it pushes you past conventional limits to find better answers, and it forces you to build the bigger habits needed to get there.
So you need the big why to drive the focused what.
You got it. Thinking big sets the trajectory. Once you see through these 6 lies, the path forward, the path to real focus, starts to open up. So once we've kind of debunked those myths that scatter our energy, we can grasp the core truth here. Success builds on itself one step at a time. It's sequential, not simultaneous.
Okay, sequential, not trying to do everything at once. And this is where that famous domino analogy comes in, right?
Exactly. It's such a powerful visual for focus. The idea is you line up your priorities and you put all your energy into knocking down the first one, the most important one, your lead domino.
Because that single action can set off a chain reaction.
A surprisingly powerful one. The physics of dominoes is amazing. A standard domino can knock over another one that's about 50% larger.
50% larger. So each one gets bigger.
Right. And if you keep that chain reaction going, the growth becomes exponential. Sounds kind of crazy, but the math shows that by the time you get to the 23rd domino in that sequence, the force generated is enough to topple something taller than the Eiffel Tower.
Wow. From one small push on the first domino.
That's the power of sequential focus. Small, consistent, correctly aimed actions build incredible momentum over time. That's how huge goals are actually achieved.
So it all comes back to identifying that first domino, that lead action, using that focusing question. Remind us again.
What's the one thing I can do?
Such that by doing it,
everything else will be easier or unnecessary. It's like a lens. It cuts through all the noise and clutter.
Can you give an example, like at work?
Sure. So instead of staring at your massive project list and thinking, what do I do first? You ask the question. Maybe the answer is, the one thing I can do is schedule that crucial meeting with the key stakeholder. Doing that makes defining the next steps, getting approvals, everything else much easier.
It unlocks the next step.
Precisely. Or think about health. Instead of, I need to overhaul my diet, start CrossFit, meditate daily, drink more water, it's overwhelmed. Ask the question. Maybe the one thing is, commit to walking for 30 minutes every morning this week. Doing that one thing might make you feel more energetic, making healthier food choices easier, and so on.
It builds momentum. So the real power is in the shift in thinking it creates.
Absolutely. You stop asking the vague question, what should I do? Which just invites a million possibilities and often leads to paralysis.
Right.
And you start asking the focused, action-oriented question. What must I do? What's the single most leveraged action right now? That shift from should to must is critical. It implies commitment.
A commitment to mastery, not just doing the easy stuff.
Exactly. And with that comes accountability. Owning the process, owning the results, not making excuses if the domino doesn't fall. You just reset and focus on the next one thing.
Clarity, focus, and owning it. Okay, so we've busted the myths, we understand the domino effect, we've hopefully used the focusing question to identify our one thing for right now. But the world doesn't just stop, right? Interruptions are constant. How do we actually protect the time to do this one thing?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because knowing your one thing is useless if you never actually get to work on it. This is where time blocking comes in.
Time blocking. I've heard of this, like putting appointments in your calendar. Is that basically it?
It's more intense than that. The book stresses treating your time blocks, especially the one for your most important work, as absolutely sacred, like an unbreakable appointment with your future.
Unbreakable. Okay, So it's not just a suggestion on your calendar.
Not at all. You block out specific chunks of time. The recommendation is generally 3 key blocks. Time for your one thing, time for planning your future blocks, and critically, time for rest and recharging.
Let's focus on that block for the one thing. Say you block out, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. every morning. That's prime willpower time, right?
Ideally, yes.
But what happens when your phone buzzes, an urgent email lands, your colleague pops their head in, your boss calls? How do you actually make it unbreakable?
This takes practice and, frankly, guts sometimes. It requires that discipline we talked about. You have to treat that block like you're in surgery or on a flight. You are unavailable.
So you literally don't answer the phone or emails.
During that specific block, ideally, yes. Or you learn to deflect, delay, or delegate. You need polite but firm boundaries. I'm currently focused on a critical project. Can I get back to you after 12? Or, could so-and-so help you with that right now?
Because if you let every interruption break that block,
Then you're essentially telling yourself and everyone else that your most important priority is optional, that their urgency trumps your focus. That's a recipe for staying stuck.
wow. Protecting your time block is protecting your future success. It's an act of self-respect, really.
It absolutely is. If you don't guard that time, your schedule will just become a reflection of everyone else's demands, not your own priorities.
And this one thing, this protected time, it needs to connect to something bigger, right? Not just ticking off a task.
Definitely. It needs to link back to your purpose. Why does this one thing matter in the grand scheme of things? What's your mission?
Ah, okay.
When your daily actions, the stuff you're doing in those time blocks, feel connected to a larger purpose that truly resonates with you, that's what fuels you. That's what gives you the grit to keep going when it gets hard, to maintain those boundaries when it's uncomfortable.
Purpose provides the why that helps you stick with the what.
Beautifully put. It gives your work meaning, direction, and resilience. You're not just completing tasks, you're building something that matters to you.
So the big picture here seems to be, dream really big, set that huge long-term domino goal.
Yes, think without limits initially.
But then bring your focus way down to the immediate small first step, the single domino right in front of you that you need to knock over today in your protected time block.
That's the essence of it. Think big, but act incredibly small and focused. And importantly, remember, this isn't about being perfect.
Right, you'll miss days, get derailed.
Of course, life happens. The key isn't flawless execution, it's progress, not perfection. It's about the persistence to keep coming back to that focusing question day after day, resetting, refocusing on the next one thing, even after you stumble. That consistent return to focus is what ultimately steers your life in the direction you want. So wrapping this all up, if we synthesize the core message from this whole approach, it really simplifies things, doesn't it? Achieving those big, extraordinary results isn't about cramming more in. It's about strategically doing less, but doing the right less.
Yeah, it's about subtraction, not addition. Seeing through those common lies that scatter our energy.
Identifying that single, most important one thing for right now using the focusing question.
And then the crucial step, using time blocking like a fortress wall to protect the time you need to actually execute on that one thing.
Do that consistently, and you shift. You move from that feeling of being busy, overwhelmed, and scattered to feeling targeted, purposeful, and genuinely effective.
And the amazing thing is, this kind of effectiveness, these extraordinary results, they aren't just for, some special elite group.
Not at all. The book makes it clear. It's available to anyone. Anyone who's willing to bring the focus, find the persistence, and dare to think big enough to make the focused effort worthwhile. It really starts with that one choice, today.
Find the lead domino and give it a push.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on this week. A provocative question to ask yourself.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you look 5 years into your future, what is the one single thing, maybe it's a skill, maybe a relationship, maybe a project, that if you committed to mastering it, starting right now, this week, what's that one thing your future self would look back on and say, wow, that was it. That was the thing that changed everything for the better.
Find that one thing.
Find that one thing, and then start protecting the time to make it happen today.